the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Van, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint.
Here on the program. Hope everybody's okay wherever you might be. Coming out of the weekend.
Rick's play by play. Weight and gold.
Hit us up in the Family Fencing Studios on our McClellan Chiropractic chat line. We'll review the weekend, the Reaction Monday. And yes, it is cold. And I don't really understand why it's cold, but it's cold again. It's going to be cold this week, and that's what really stinks. It's not going to get into 60s tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday. How about that? And then it gets back up warm at the end of the week. All right. All right. Not done yet. Not done yet. Donny Lind will join us coming up at, let me make sure I got the time right here. Yeah, 7:15 for Coach Lind. We're going to break down the national championship game. It'll be UConn and Michigan tonight. And we'll see how that goes. Not a great weekend for women's college basketball. We'll get into that. UCLA dominates, and I mean absolutely dominates, South Carolina yesterday. And I don't know who saw that coming. But when you go back to how really just poor quality the whole weekend of women's games were, the Final Four on Friday night, I mean, it made its rounds around X on social media. I mean, these aren't people that are trying to criticize. They're just looking at this like, what in the world was that? It's a great question. The UCLA-Texas game was headed into the fourth quarter on Friday night, 31-28. And then yesterday, a blowout. The whole Gino, Dawn Staley exchange. Not a great weekend for women's basketball. We'll talk about all that. Good morning, Stephen. Yeah, I hope everybody, you as well, T-Bird. Everybody had a great Easter Sunday. Nice to head to church yesterday and be reminded. Good stuff. Does my audio sound okay to you, or is that just my headphones? I feel like I've got a weird thing going in my headphones today, but that might just be my headphones. Do y'all hear anything differently? Y'all good? Just let me know. Let me know what you're hearing. No Coach Elmo today. He's on his cruise, right? He was New Mexico talking with the Lobos, and now he's going to be cruising for a while, literally. I told him to send me some pictures from the boat, so hopefully he will. We'll see if he does. That'd be great. All right, good. Thanks. Thank you very much. Reach out to Family Fencing, 540-200-8294, sponsor of our studios. The NRV Super Bowl has been around for 25 years. Thanks to them, 382-5525. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. Give James a call at 540-381-8011. Top Shelf Apparel, sponsor of our T-shirts, if anybody wants those. What's up, Morris? From the Final Four in Indy. Anyone still alive with Michigan and UConn? That would be really trendy. BDST is live and online. That'd be no for me. I'm sure some people probably definitely had Michigan. I know a lot of people had Michigan. What's up, King? Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic, thanks to him. Sponsoring our chat room, which always explodes. 155 Walters Drive. Professional Door Incorporated, Travis Williams, 540-391-0788, sponsor of our text line. They've been around for 38 years doing commercial and residential garage doors. Of course, we heard from Jonathan Sweet, Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. And we always get so much reaction from Jonathan. He's great. Our presenting sponsor, thanks to them, Little River Heating and Air. As soon as I say, hey, go ahead and focus on your air now. We're done with warm weather. I'm just going to stop talking about it. I'm clearly jinxing it. It's warm again in your home because you have to have the heat on if it gets down to 30 degrees. 540-553-2971 for Little River Heating and Air. The attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. Now we got to think of out-of-the-box questions. So hit me up for that. National Bank member FDIC, the official and exclusive banking partner of yours truly. And this program closed my loan out on Friday, my new refinancing, and it's all now in one place at National Bank. Already set fund. Reach out to Bob Christ, CRST11 @gmail, and find out about how to earn your organization money quickly. Series of text messages. And Sundown Electric, thanks to the Smith brothers. Long list of satisfied clients, superior craftsmanship, attention to detail, clear communication about cost and what they're going to be doing. One of the most honest businesses in our area. And we thank all of our sponsors. But hit me up. What did you watch this weekend, sports-wise? We're now into dregs. We're starting to hit that now. Game tonight will be too late. What time does it tip off? Let's see here. Can any normal human beings stay up and watch the game tonight? I'm going to guess it's 9:07. What do you think? No, a little better. 8:50. So that means the game won't be ending until well after 11. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Hey, T-Bird got to see softball at Tech. We get to play them tomorrow, T-Bird. Come by Radford Softball Stadium. That's a 5 o'clock game, I think, tomorrow. It's going to be chilly. They should move it up, what they should do. It's going to be cold. Yeah, I'll be sleeping too. I'm not going to watch that. Michigan, 8-point favorites, by the way. That's a pretty big spread. Exactly, Prometheus. I mean, you got to get that West Coast audience. 8:50. And then it won't start at 8:50. It'll start later than that. Morris made it back. All right. 649 miles. Great to see Morris. Got to meet him. Awesome. And the Coach Elmo's on board. Jen is on board. How about that? We got Jen and Elmo. She might be mad at me now if UCLA destroyed South Carolina yesterday. But yeah, Jen's going to come to the bash. Jen and Coach Elmo try to get Burnip out there. Maybe Rolf. I mean, this thing could end up being really nice. Really nice. Tech women basketball, not great news. They lose 2 really key starters. Wenzel's coming back, but just the way it is. It's the way it's going to be. It's not the fault of any coach. It's people are now, though, are blaming. I saw a lot of blame again toward Whit Babcock for lack of funding for men's and women's basketball. You got to stay on the ground, though, about women's basketball. It is a losing money entity. I mean, it does not make money for anyone. So, I mean, you got to be careful. What do you want them to do? Well, they're supposed to throw $3 to $4 or $5 million in pay for play for women's basketball. I mean, Wayne, I don't know if Wayne's in here yet, but he kept talking about he had season tickets and Castle was barely half full most nights. Yeah, the Bruins crushed. I mean, absolutely crushed South Carolina. I mean, it wasn't even competitive. And now Corey Close is now being heavily rumored to be the new head coach at Virginia. UVA fired their coach. Now, there's a lot going on, I've been told. A lot of it's going to come out. It's not going to be good for the former coach. She was fired for calls. They went to the Sweet 16, and this thing is going to blow up. Carla Williams and her athletic department is a mess. I'm telling you, call me the least surprised guy. Call me the least surprised guy on the planet. And, I've told this story. But there are things going on down there that it's – all right, so Dave Kane, friend of mine, is the former voice down in Charlottesville. He's always wanted to be an NBA announcer, and he got the gig for the Milwaukee Bucks. So he said, hey, this is when Tony Bennett was the coach. And Tony Bennett would come on the old radio BDST, and I got to know him a little bit, I would say, because I had interviewed him several times, and we had a moment when Radford last played UVA down at JPJ. Then we did the pregame interview, and we walked into UVA locker room. I walked in, and he stopped, and he goes, hey, I know you, right? Washington State. When I was at Washington State, when he was the coach at Washington State, Radford, we played in a tournament at Wisconsin, Milwaukee. I'll get to where I'm going with this. And he remembered me. And we talked to him. He goes, you were my first interview from outside media. And it was his first game. We played Washington State. Washington State beat Radford. But just saying. All right. So we kind of had a little bit of a thing. Every time he'd see me, he'd come by and high five and things. So when Dave left, he said, you should go after this job. He goes, and I said, you think? He said, yeah. So I sent my stuff in, and Tony Bennett was a real proponent for me to get an interview, and I interviewed with Carla Williams. And it was the strangest the way it evolved was one of the strangest things I've ever experienced in this profession, because it was a normal first 15 minutes or so. And then they just started kind of easing into politics. And eventually the question came to me about my own politics. And I sat there kind of in disbelief a little bit. I don't know if they felt that relaxed around me, but it was just strange. And, you know, Virginia's an incredibly liberal institution, massively so. Most colleges are. Virginia Tech is too. I mean, they are. But that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is I didn't appreciate that coming into the interview. So I got back from the interview. I finished the interview. I didn't really get into it. I just said, well, that's not something I don't think is prominent here. That's not pertinent to our. And so I got an email back that they'd like to have had a second interview. I had made the cut, and I politely declined. I responded to the email after further thought about my opportunity here. I've decided to remove my name from your search for your director of broadcasting. And I've not regretted it, because I would not have been happy there. And you hear all the things that are going on with Carla Williams, the things that were allowed. This is going to get really ugly for Charlottesville when all these things come out about their women coach. Players are already speaking, and it was allowed to go on. David Teal has already made some posts about what's going on down there. And I just had a minor little brush with it, but I'm not surprised. That's my whole point, is to bring all this back together. I'm not surprised to hear that there's things happening down there, up there, over there. I know technically Charlottesville's up there from where we are, but when you drive, you don't feel like you're going up. You feel like, anyway. So, yeah. So keep an eye on all that. Let's put it this way. It's to the point to where, here was Don Staley, by the way. How's the nice way to say this? Who is a very, a very politically motivated coach. She was all up in arms, but called UVA. And once she got the explanation, she got really quiet. Of course, she being, black head coach, it was a black head coach let go. So she was wondering what was happening. It shouldn't be anything about that, but here we are. So yeah, keep an eye out what's going on with UVA when all this comes out. They need to really consider what's happening with their leadership down there. Yeah, Dan Hurley is officially crazy. There were some things that went viral. That whole post game was weird, but when he was walking through off the floor and the police, taking him through to the interview room, he's like talking to himself. Did you see that? Have you seen that on X? He's like going, "Yeah, man, way to go." And then he would go into another voice. "How about that? We got it done." I know. It's like when you get the insight from a supervillain and how their mind works. It's like the Joker. It's like we were watching Heath Ledger's Joker. That was the strangest thing. You can see it on X. Go look for it. He starts going, "Yeah, man. Yeah, we're going to the championship. Yeah, we're going." And you can see the officers going, the dude is nuts. I mean, he's a hell of a head coach, but he's nuts. That's why Morris called him the squirrelhead. Yeah. Yeah, the traditional Richie Davis legal counsel, the BDST, the traditional Big Ten power, UCLA, winning only the second Big Ten women's national championship. Purdue in 99, if I don't recall. Is that right? I wonder where that came from. Purdue in 99 and now UCLA. Because they've been part of the Big Ten for, decades. It'll be one and done. They lose all those stars. They lose all those seniors who scored all of their points. So you won't hear from UCLA women's basketball for a while, and they might lose their head coach. But, hey, they got a natty. They now have two. They got one, the AIWA, Annie Myers, before the NCAA sanctioned women's basketball, but it was a national championship. They beat Maryland. Annie Myers was so good, she got a tryout with the Pacers back in the day. Anybody remember that? No. And now they get one yesterday. And that game was over at halftime. You could tell how helpless Dawn Staley was. She just sat there. And what was she wearing? There's a lot of that's been made too. You're in the national championship game. She didn't wear one branding item of her school. She didn't have one piece of South Carolina garb on. She got some kind of deal with that horrible looking apparel she had on. That was weird to me. And people were talking about that on X. What is she doing? Why is she dressed like that? Why does she dress that way? And of course, people are like, well, you must not watch much South Carolina basketball. That's not. I hate when somebody gives the excuse, well, that's just how they are. That doesn't make how they are right. South Carolina gives her way too much leeway. You should not be wearing nothing. You're in the national championship game. You just had that big blow up with the greatest women's coach ever. There's a lot of attention on you, and you're wearing Gucci or whatever. Is that what it was, Wayne? What the hell was she wearing? And how is that okay, even in her mind? Even if she's getting money, does she make enough money? How is that okay? Why would you not represent your school? So does that mean she's not representing South Carolina? To me, it looks like that's a coach that's out there completely just for themselves. I mean, Cora Close got her UCLA stuff on in pride, right? She's just like you're supposed to. Every other coach. Now, I'm not talking about coaches that wear suits because that's the traditional thing. But if you're going to dumb down and wear the sweat gear, I think you should probably represent your team. Maybe that's just me. Correct, Wayne. 100%. So that whole thing with Gino and Dawn Staley, two things can be true at the same time. They're both not good people. But Gino really looked like a horrible dude. That was, I don't know. I still don't know where all that came from. UConn was heavily favored to win it all once you got to the number ones in the Final Four. And they could not do anything against South Carolina. They couldn't hit a shot. They couldn't get a rebound. They scored, 40-some points. That's what I'm saying. The games were so bad. It was horrible basketball. Horrible. And we're not talking because this was like, oh, well, they played great defense. Now, UCLA did yesterday. They were defending really well. But you had how many missed layups? They put together sequences of just end-to-end, out of control, flailing shots, missed layups, turnover after turnover. And this was UConn and this was South Carolina. You're like, what are we watching? And then the UCLA-Texas game was 31-28 going into the fourth quarter. And that's not great defense, I don't think. I don't think either team shot over 30%. But explain to me, Jen and I were just talking about, Gino and how she was talking about how much she liked him. And I've always liked him too. I think he's always been very honest about the game. He's the most successful women's coach ever. But what a meltdown. He wasn't happy. Now, the officiating was terrible. They're the number one team in the country. They were undefeated. I think South Carolina went the whole third quarter without a foul being called against them, as physical as they were being. I could see him being suspicious of the officials, but why did he take it out specifically on Dawn Staley at that point? He just lost it. He issued an apology through the UConn social media the next day. That doesn't change it. As Richie just said, his legacy now, you got to look at it and go, it'll be forgotten. It'll be forgotten, but right now it's a horrible look. I wonder how it won't affect the recruiting because they have lots of pay-for-play money up there, more than most women's programs. But that was just a strange vibe, man. And then you got to peek into Dawn Staley because she was on camera going, I'm going to kick Gino's blankety blank ass. So don't try to make it look like she's this victim in all this, because she's not. All you got to do is type in all these things about her and some of her stances on politics and race and all these things. And you're going to know that she's not the greatest person in the world either. But Gino really came across as just a nightmare individual. And that's not good for the women's game. It's all anybody focused on. Even going into the game on Sunday, that's all they focused on. So the women's game is not, we've talked about this going into it with Jen last week. It's not healthy from a popularity standpoint. It has gone down considerably since Caitlin Clark left. Let's just say it the way it is. She was the reason women's basketball had the surge that it did. End of story. The professional league doesn't support it. Nobody goes. Nobody's going to spend money on that. They lose over $40 million a year. All they do is show off their own political biases. They are allowed to go and beat up the biggest star that's ever been in their league. They've reduced Caitlin Clark now to just, remember when she was a good college player? It's a league that has nightmarish, and I do mean nightmarish marketing. If it wasn't for ESPN pushing their objective, you wouldn't hear about the WNBA. And I know Tech fan, everybody was excited when they went to the Final Four. And you had the two players, although one ended up being kind of not for Tech because she left with Kenny Brooks and had some things to say about her time in Blacksburg. People tend to forget that. But all that's over. And it's just the lack of self-awareness. We always talk about that hyphenated word. People surrounding women's basketball need to have a little self-awareness, especially on the professional side, but they won't, and they don't care. They've got new media deals. They actually got more money. I don't know how for the players. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. But yeah, not great. Not great at all for the women's game. And people may disagree with that. But it wasn't. I'm just talking about quality of play. It's not good. It's not good. Yeah, Tech losing. Yeah, we talked about that, Baker and Mackey. But then again, what are they supposed to do? There's going to be money out there for women's basketball as well. Tech women's basketball loses the athletic department a considerable amount of money every year. The year they went to the Final Four, they lost money. So what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to say, hey, here's $5 million. Go out and buy some players for a sport that loses the amount of money that it loses? I mean, you tell me. Players are going to make these decisions on their own. And now people want to try to blame Megan Duffy. People are starting to try to say what's going on there with her. Look, sometimes it might be the coach's fault at certain places, but this isn't about Megan Duffy. It's just about players who know they're going to try to get somewhere else that maybe women's basketball is a little bit more prominent. I mean, Baker will be on the market maybe a day, and we're going to find out she can flat out play. And Mackey's a good player too. You're right, Tebow. You're right about Gino. 100%. That was almost surreal. You know, he was dropping language during the interviews with Holly Rowe about the officiating was terrible. It felt like it was a little biased. But my goodness gracious. That was bizarre to me. Because then they showed last year. By the way, Dawn Staley has gotten it handed to her in the last 2 title games by, 30 points in each game? I mean, but, yeah. So, I don't know, how many people are going to spend time worrying about Tech's pay for play money in women's basketball when the men's basketball program clearly doesn't have enough money. And that's a program that actually turns a profit. Look, people aren't going to like this, and y'all might disagree with it in chat. The only thing Tech should be putting its money in right now is football. Am I wrong? You might have some dollars left over. You might get some individual dollar money. But whatever extracurricular funds there are, whatever they can do to bring back that, because once that comes back, it's the head of the snake. Once that comes back, things will start flowing again. Everything in college athletics is controlled by football. If anybody tells you otherwise, they either don't know what the hell they're talking about, or they're trying to put forth some kind of agenda talking point. Everything regarding college athletics is controlled by football. That's why the portal is where it is. We had this thing with President Trump coming out and he said, this is the way it's going to be. Is there going to be any kind of legal, is it going to stick? Is it going to be, how can it? It's all because of football. It's all because of football. Every bit of it. Getting lost in all this is the fact, did you see how they snuck in the tournament's going to 76 teams next year? There you go, Prometheus and Tebow. That's just the way it is. And other sports they won't like it. Men's basketball, I don't know the mindset over there. I don't know what's going on with that. Correct, Al. Clemson puts all revenue share toward football. Most SEC schools do it as well. What's up, Leslie? Yeah, I think Michigan will win the national title tonight too. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, other than wrestling, Virginia Tech doesn't have a program that's going to play or even contend for a national title. Softball is good, but they're not, College World Series finalists good. Their women's basketball program went to the Final Four. It hasn't come close to reaching anything resembling that since. Baseball has fallen considerably since it hosted a super regional. Men's basketball is losing already, 4 players, maybe more on the way. The portal opens, tomorrow or today or the 7th? Maybe it's Wednesday. It opens this week. No, Tech will never win a track natty. They may have some individuals. There's too many SEC. There's too many programs. But they're good in track. You're right. But wrestling's probably the only one right now where they could legitimately get their first ever national title. It blows my mind that yesterday was UCLA's 126th national championship. Stanford leads the way, by the way. But what matters in Blacksburg right now, and is what James Franklin's doing, trying to bring back the program. All the news coming out of the athletic department, other than seeing players leave, is directed towards spring football. And you know what? That's the way it should be. Correct, T-Bird. There's supposed to be elite curricular athletic endeavors to graduate well-rounded citizens, assets to the communities, but all that was tossed aside years ago, right? No, I don't think there's going to be any traction with what Trump signed and all that, because I think it's going to be challenged. You're going to see it held up, and it'll probably be shot down in the Supreme Court. I don't know. That whole thing, I just looked at it and I'm like, okay, does this mean it's going to start tomorrow? No. What I love too is UCLA won their natty yesterday. They had those 6 seniors. Every one of them got money. Everybody's acting like, I saw people saying, hey, look, this was a team that won without NIL. God, I wish people would get updated. You know how stupid you sound still calling it NIL? I'm talking about national people. I'm like, do you not understand what they paid Lauren Betts and Kiki Rice? They all got, and the Jaquez guard, they all got substantial money for women's basketball. Let's not try to act like this is just some kind of, come on. I get to see Tech softball up close tomorrow. I am going to wager that they show up wearing black. So that'll be great. Come on out to our softball stadium tomorrow. For some reason, it's a 5 o'clock start. I have no idea why it's that late, but it is. It's going to be cold tomorrow, too. Temperatures around 50. Well, I'm glad to see people are agreeing with me on our professional door text line and our McClellan chiropractic chat room. It's got to be football. All the disarray in the Tech athletic department has been because the football program has not been good for you're going on almost 8 full years. They were in all black on Friday. It looked horrible. Yeah, it looks horrible, but not enough people seem to care. It makes no sense. I mean, I've just beaten a dead horse at this point. No school hates its school colors more than Virginia Tech athletics. No department hates its school colors more than Tech athletics. And I would think that would be something, along with maybe the fight song and your mascot. School colors should be something that fans would get up in arms about. There's a reason that when you look on the bios of school colors show up pretty quickly. But Pete clearly loves the black unis. It's just. And here you go. Here's the perfect example. You're not selling any black softball merch. So don't try to tell me it's marketing. Can we just stop with all that nonsense, by the way? Don't even tell me it's marketing with football, because nobody's buying any black Tech football gear. We're going to get in this conversation again? Fine. You just led me into it. Even the Orioles don't wear all black. It's just the stupidest thing. But people just kind of go, oh, okay, it looks great. They're not bothered by it. You call yourself the biggest, most staunch supporter of a school, but you don't mind if they just, change your school colors. And don't tell me it was original color. That's not why they're doing it. I keep seeing LSU in black. Oh, that looks terrible, too. I saw that, too. I think I saw their baseball team, Prometheus. Why? It's an epidemic, man. But they do it because they don't hear enough pushback on it. That's why in our, I know we're Radford, but in our athletic department, we do not allow it. There's no black. We've had plenty of coaches ask. Over the years, we've had coaches that have asked to have alternate, and it's like, no, that's not our school color. President's office says, what are our school colors? Okay, just black it? No. Okay, then we're not wearing it. End of story. That's the way you handle it. Get ready. You're going to love it then. All y'all who don't care, you're going to love the new football unis. Woo, you can't wait. We're going to see the dreaded minute videos that they do when it shows guys in their new alternate gear, and wait till that first one hits for Tech this year. I'm going to guess probably, let's guess right now. Let's guess here. Where's the Virginia Tech football schedule? Virginia Tech football schedule. All right. Here we go. When are they going to debut the new black unis under James Franklin? Let's see here. Won't be VMI, won't be Old Dominion. Ooh, what do you think? Friday, October 2nd against Pitt. It's a Friday night. That's it. That's going to be it. Oh, you know what they're going to do? Here you go. Everybody who might be watching in the Tech marketing office, you're welcome. Here we go. It's going to be Black Friday in Blacksburg. The Pittsburgh Panthers come to town. It's a blackout at Lane Stadium. Oh, it's completely black. There is no deep Chicago maroon. Either wear Chicago maroon or you don't. It's going to be on. It's going to be the Pitt game on a Friday night. Mark it down. I don't even know. I'm calling it right now. It's going to be all black helmet. And people are going to watch the video and you're going to get a bunch of posts. Oh, man, those are tight. Oh, straight fire, man. Straight fire. Oh, man, they should never wear anything else. Get Creed in. Creed always wears the same thing. He's, orange and white. Come on, buddy. Straight fire. Mark it down. Remember where you heard it first, just like we're the ones that told you that James Franklin was going to be the new football coach at Virginia Tech, and everybody scoffed at me. Facts. I've got the receipts. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that mindset either, Tebow. I don't care if they wear pink if they win. Come on. If you're a Tech fan, that should bother you. It should bother you. I see that all the time. I don't care what they wear as long as they win. Okay. Well, they haven't been winning. I don't know how many times. Somebody asked, how many times have they worn black since Coach Beamer left? I don't know. Hell, I'm not. Didn't Fuente do it a couple times? Britt Pride did not do it. That's true. Damian told us Pride was going to be assistant, but we scoffed. Yeah, that's true. I got Vitarol sent to me when I came on here. This was 2 months before it happened, and I'd heard some scuttlebutt. And I said, I think James Franklin's going to be the new coach. Remember I put his picture up wearing Tech gear? I got people that were just flat out mean. They were just flat out mean. Like, wow. Well, it happened. I didn't get apologies from those people, by the way. I'm not sure we've ever won wearing black football jerseys. I don't know. Somebody would have to research. That sounds like a Wayne project. Well, I know they wore them against Boise State, and they got beat there. That was one that I know off the top of my head. Is that the only one? Is that right, Tebow? Is that the only one they wore? It's going to change now, baby. Remember, October 2nd, it's going to be a blackout. Black Friday. It's going to be Black Friday. I'm telling you right now. Morris says, didn't Beamer have black unis once and they got their ass beat? I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know the specific times. They've done more than one blackout, haven't they? Seems like that they've advertised that quite a few times. Maybe I'm wrong. But their other programs really like to wear black. But I think it's coming back pretty prominently now in football. Just watch any highlights of James Franklin at spring practice and tell me what color he's wearing. Did they wear black in that game, Matthew? Was that they lost in Beamer's last home game versus Carolina? So did they wear black in that one? Was that okay? I think so. What does Brett Michaels say about our black uniforms? Oh my gosh, Ryan. The Celtics, yeah, they've gone to black. They've done that for several years. But don't get the NBA, just throw out the NBA. They don't, it's what the NBA does is just it's a non-starter. It's a non-starter. Oh, here we go. Thank you. This is good. So Tex worn all black alternate uniforms 5 times since 2010. They lost to Boise State. They lost to Georgia Tech. They lost to Boston College. They beat North Carolina 2015. That's what it says. And then they lost to West Virginia. So that's 5 times. All right. Okay, that's good stuff. Thank you. The chat knows. The chat is great. You guys are awesome. Okay. So that's 1 and 4. And that would be 1 and 4 in the black unis. That's not good. Not good. It's good stuff. Yeah, the Eagles black is horrible. Your green is horrible. The Kelly green and silver was perfection in the 70s and early 80s. But they wear black jerseys a lot. It's just Nebraska wore black. I'm trying to think of all the traditional schools that have worn black for no apparent reason. Yes, Tebow says, look at the record when they wear all orange. Okay. Well, if somebody found the black uni, somebody will find the orange record too. That's good. As a matter of fact, going back, the Eagles had some of my favorite uniforms growing up, man. The Kelly green with that silver wing with white. Perfect. And their old white helmets look great too. When they had, oh man, those were good unis. And now black. Tebow. Eagles unis are straight fire. That's funny. Yeah, Tennessee does it. Looks stupid. They wear the gray too. They say it's for these Smoky Mountains. Yeah, Tennessee's a good one. Awful, just awful. Georgia, here's Georgia's colors are black and red. And back traditionally, sometimes they'd wear a black jersey. They bring it back some. They don't wear it because it says that's not who they are. They even could get away with it more. And they wear it occasionally, but Kirby Smart says that's not our uniform. Go back to Nick Saban at Alabama. USC even doesn't change their uni. No, I love the white helmets, man. I'd like to have one of those white helmets. The white helmet with the green, I think that looks really sharp. On top of the green jersey. Nothing monochrome color, by the way, in football. Looks terrible. There you go. Tech is 120 and 44. Is that right, Wayne? All-time maroon top with white pants. And here's the thing, that this is why it bothered me so much. No, I'm not a Tech grad. I'm not Tech supporter. But during the program's build in the mid-90s to when Mike Vick got there, those uniforms were some of my all-time favorite in college football. I thought they were clean. They just represented the program winning, representing the program being built from the ashes from a coach who was nearly fired 3 years prior. You go to Texas, you kick their ass in the Sugar Bowl, and it was representative of everything that program was going to go forward and be, and everything it had left behind. That maroon helmet, those maroon jerseys with the orange number, the white pant, that was Virginia Tech. You never had to guess. And when they go on the road, it was the all white, the traditional. Now, see, monochrome doesn't count for all white because that's traditional football uniform. So somebody said, well, you just said you don't like monochrome. Well, that's not the same. I'm talking about dark on dark, the same color. It looks stupid. Maroon and white, 100%. It's such don't you understand? Why don't they understand how cool their colors are? No one else has it. The closest is probably Bowling Green, but they've got that brown that almost looks maroon and orange. If you look at it closely, sometimes you think it's maroon, but it's not. It's brown. Virginia Tech has a unique color, two main colors that nobody else in the country has. It looks great. And I think that's what bothers me the most. It looks great. And they insist on showing up at places. They'll be like, I don't even know. I'm going to guess that on Tuesday, we're going to see this team walk in with a black uniform. We're going to go, I thought Tech was playing today. Oh, they are. That's what that is. Yeah, you're right, Morris. The FSU maroon is pretty dark too. No, nobody has Tech's color. T-Bo, I'm talking about their colors, not one shade. Nobody has maroon and orange. Mississippi State is maroon and white only. Texas A&M is maroon and white only, or whatever they call it. They probably have some other name for it. Oh, that was from 1997, Wayne? Okay. Still good, though. I think the record says it all. The record says it all. But nobody has Tech's colors. Nobody. Colors, plural, not one part of their color scheme. Maybe that's the way I should have said it. Nobody has Virginia Tech's color scheme. Nobody. He's not counting the orange. Now, Tech orange is essential to the maroon because you couldn't have another color. What would you want to have? Yellow? Like, what else would even go with maroon? Gray? Oh, hell, don't give me any ideas. You know what? I kind of like that, Wayne. Yeah, that's a good look. I don't like the white helmet. I'm just going to say that now. I don't like the white helmet. I know a lot of you do. I don't like it. I'm not offended by it, but I don't like it. But that look, Wayne, there, like the maroon helmet and the orange jersey and the white pants. You have maroon socks. I like that look. But Tech's helmet should always be maroon. Again, it's a program it's a school, it's an athletic department that doesn't understand how the VT on the helmet doesn't transfer over as the main logo on these other uniforms. Put it on the leg. Virginia Tech softball, basketball, baseball, whatever it might be, should have Virginia Tech, Hokies. Put the VT on the pant. That's all you need, the little VT. You don't need it. It looks bad. Maroon and black, Brandon says. Or they could just wear Don Staller's Gucci jerseys like Wayne said. You're right, Wayne. You know, it's a national championship game. Let's just wear nothing that has anything to do with school representation. And let's make sure our staff doesn't either. Did the Eagles stop wearing their gray? I don't know. They used to have like a gray pant to go with that green jersey too, with the white numbers trimmed in silver. I called it silver, but you're right. It's more gray, I guess. I don't know. It's now just the dark green and white with the black highlights. There you go. Just got the text line just sent me the Randall Cunningham wearing the yes. They don't wear them enough. They sell out all the time, but they don't wear them. Yeah. So Don Staley's been blown out the last two national championship games by 30 or more points. The last night, I think it ended up being 28, but they were down 30 plus the whole second half. Uniforms, here's what you get a lot. And I just got a text message. What does it matter about uniform? If it didn't matter, they wouldn't go to the effort to change how they look, would it? So your argument is baseless. Don't try to tell me it's not that important. Why are you worried about it? That's the text message I just got. If it wasn't important, then they wouldn't go around changing it, would they? They wouldn't make the effort to design a brand new uni every year of some type if it didn't matter, correct? You wouldn't see college football teams go to this big marketing thing to show their new uniform combo for this week. If uniforms didn't matter, then why did they do it? So don't send me that crap. Be smarter than that. Whoever you were, be smarter than that. Correct, Prometheus. The uniform is the identity. That's why it's important. Nick Saban had it right. And I love telling that story when Nike tried to strong-arm Alabama. They were winning natties because Saban was back. And they tried to create this black uniform with a helmet that had an elephant on it. Nick Saban would not even allow the conversation to get to the president. We're Alabama. We're the uniform that Bear Bryant designed. Crimson helmet. I think he said crimson hat. Crimson jersey, white pants with a stripe, number on the side. On the road, crimson helmet, white jersey, white pant. We're Alabama. Okay. All right. Let's go win another national championship. The thing that I get that a lot, by the way. You focus too much on the uniforms. They really don't matter. If they didn't matter, you wouldn't spend all the millions of dollars that Nike and the schools, when they have redesigners and people who come in, they wouldn't spend all that money ordering them and making them if it didn't matter. If they weren't trying to create something, it wouldn't matter. So don't go there. Of course it matters. It's your complete identity. Prometheus said it right. The Oakland Raiders have the most distinct NFL identity, I think, of any franchise. The Raiders are the Cowboys. And Al Davis may have been the best marketing guru without even knowing it of anybody ever. Because the Raiders were not silver and black their first couple years in the AFL. They were black and they had kind of a maize yellow type of color. And then he came in and said, you know what? Silver and black. Nothing looks more intimidating than silver. He got it from like the Gladiator. He describes where he got it. It was great. You can see it on, if you go to YouTube and see Al Davis, type in Al Davis talking about silver and black uniforms. And he'll tell you why it's important. And the Steelers ruined their uniforms, though, because they changed their block number. The Steel Curtain had these wonderful black unis with the big block numbers. You know what I'm talking about. Go look at any of the Steel Curtain, the Super Bowls that they won during that era. And for some reason, I don't know if it was in the 90s, late 80s, they decided to change the number to match the way the number looks on the back of the helmet. They haven't looked right since. Fans have wanted them to go back to the block numbers, and they refuse to do it. They say it doesn't match. Who cares? If it's that big a deal, put the little block number on the back of the helmet. Yeah, the Steelers B jerseys are just ridiculous. Now, they are throwbacks, but some throwbacks. Hey, Eagles guys, you know, when you wear your throwback, remember the one that's like blue with the gold helmet? It's a legitimate throwback uni you used to have, but that doesn't mean you should be wearing it. But unis do matter. That's why so many people buy your base jersey. More fans buy jersey, by whoever the texter was, who I'll probably never hear from again. Most fans, what did I see a couple weeks ago? Fans, 60-some, 70% of fans are buying jerseys to wear when they go to games. Like, it's the biggest selling item out there. And you know what they're buying? They're buying the jersey that identifies their team's brand. They're not spending money on some off-brand. These things are pretty damn expensive. All right? So you're going to buy one. Let me ask you, Tech fan. Say you've got, I don't know, what is it, $300 now? I don't know how much they cost. And you say, you know what? I got some extra money here. I don't have a good Tech jersey. What are you going to buy? If you see them all side by side, the Tech basic maroon game jersey or a Michael Vick era throwback, or let's say they put up whatever the alternate looks like this year when they inevitably wear black. You have those three up there. What are you going to spend your $300 on? Ask yourself the question. Are you going to buy a black jersey? It looks like everybody else's black jersey. And then you're going to have to go, no, it's Virginia Tech. Somebody's going to go, hey, what is that? What jersey is that? Is that a Michigan jersey? No. Oh, it's Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech. Are y'all black now? No, but we like to wear it. But if it's maroon and orange, people are going to go, oh, Virginia Tech. That's sharp. Damn right it's sharp. Yeah, but Bill Veck, Brandon, also had the biggest I guess you could say backlash ever when he had disco night at the White Sox game and they were blowing up records on the setting fire, and that kind of backfired against him. I don't know. Bill Veck is the example we want to go by. Now, he did think out of the box. I'll give him that. Yeah, is that right, Wayne? The Houston the Earl Campbell Houston Oilers jersey. Oh, I'm glad Tennessee's going back to those colors. They had the worst uniforms in the NFL. Them and the Falcons. Oh, that's your vote. Yeah, that's a good jersey. It's a good jersey. Good jersey. But marketing is different than changing your identity. And I think that's the point that's being missed with all this. Let me say it again. Marketing is different than changing your complete identity. Right? I don't know. You can market in other ways without having your team show up look like something that it doesn't or not supposed to look like. You can market all these different things for James Franklin's first year, but you don't have to touch the Chicago maroon. It's beautiful. I think if it didn't look so good, it wouldn't bother me as much. But I'm sorry, you may not even be a Tech fan. You watch Tech play in that uniform, you're like, all right, that's the way God intended right there. I mean, that helmet without the stripe, that helmet's perfection, in my opinion. It's one of those identifiers of a brand. And the VT is awesome on the helmet. Somebody said, you hate the Tech logo. No, I don't hate the Tech logo. It just shouldn't be on anything else as the primary identifier. It doesn't look good. You can't tell me the Tech basketball uniforms look good. Does it? You tell me softball. I might see that on Tuesday. I can't wait. It's going to be exciting to see what I see on Tuesday. It is a straight fire. It's a straight fire helmet, Brandon. It is. It is. That whole era of uniform in the mid to late 90s into the 2000s that's as good as it gets. When Richie Davis and I went to, oh yeah, no doubt, text message, Oakland A's uniforms in the 70s. Yeah, those were some of the best of. We went out to Nebraska, and that was the game Tyrod Taylor went nuts and just riddled the Cornhuskers in the second half. He made a couple throws in that game that he looked like a can't-miss NFL star. You know, he's been good in the NFL, but, you know. And I remember we were out, they were the nicest people in the world. They were talking about how much they love Tech's look. And Tech that night wore all white, if I'm not mistaken, the way they're supposed to look. And that him talking about Tech's colors, that stands out to me. Yeah, that's your identifier. Now I do like the old school. I've liked all the Tech logos. I think I love that logo too, Tebow. I like the one now though. But I think as a throwback, it does look good. It does. The VT on top of each other, the stacked, it looks good to me. I like it. A lot of people may not, but I really like it. Last year, Ryan Price says UVA brought back the 95 blue unis originally for a single game, but wore them twice because they were so sharp. Yeah, and people were probably excited to be able to buy traditional unis. No, the bird feet on the helmet, not straight fire, Wayne. No. All right, well, that's a good conversation. See, look how much conversation we're having about it. Texter who told me it didn't matter. Joining us now on the program, it always matters when we have the head basketball coach from Mount St. Mary's, Donny Lind. What's up, Coach? Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Rick. How we doing?
Doing all right. We're talking about how much uniforms matter. You agree, I know.
So I've been educated that uniforms matter to the players. They enjoy cool uniforms. Does it matter whether to help you put the ball in the basket? No. Does it matter to help you win the game? Are there lucky uniforms? Of course not. But the players care what uniforms they wear. And if the players like the bird leg helmets, then I'm all for it.
Keep your identity. Bring players in that go, I want to be at your school because of your identity, not because of the funky uniform combos that you can make for me. How are you doing, man? How are things after your season and as the tournaments progress? I know you have to get busy immediately, right, with roster construction.
It turns over quick. It ends too fast always, and it starts up right away. With roster construction, and they push the transfer portal opening back till tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Okay.
Officially, the transfer portal opens tomorrow. However, somehow there are already 1,000 people that have told everyone in the world that they're going into the portal. So it's already begun. Although we can't talk directly to the student athletes, we can evaluate their film and, kind of see who we like and who might be interested in us by their, proxies and all that. It's a wild time. But it's been fine. We've, have a good sense of who's coming back and who's leaving. From our team, I'm pretty happy with that. We're waiting for some dotted I's and crossed T's before we can announce who all's coming back, but I'm excited about where we're at. And then we've got some work to do. We'll have 5 or 6 players that we need to sign here this spring, the majority of which will be some kind of transfer, whether it's a transfer portal from Division 1, 2, 3, even junior college, and then maybe an additional high school player or two, just depending on kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how many you were looking at. So somewhere like we're between 5 to 8 total, maybe, if that would be the best.
Yeah, it might be. We've already signed 2 in the fall, 2 high school seniors. So I think we have 5 or 6 more that we'll need to go get this spring. So barring any last minute, defections, which I would be surprised by at this point.
Okay, well, good, man. That's good for you. That's awesome. Question for you: do you know which players are staying and which are leaving normally, or do players give you courtesy or surprise you? How does that work? That's a good question.
Yeah, generally, there's 1 or 2 that before the season's over, you already know, right? Things have not gone their way, or they are malcontents at that point, or I've decided that this is not a good situation for that player anymore. For one reason or another. So 1 or 2 are known before the season. Generally speaking, we'll have meetings within the first week after the season's over, with kind of a end of year discussion on their what they thought, what I thought. Are we aligned on what the future looks like? And if all those things go, as long as nobody's lying to each other, which we've got pretty good culture of that in our program. Yeah. We usually know after that meeting, and everyone's pretty transparent and pretty forthright on what their intentions are. Now we live in a world where players can sign contracts, have to sign contracts, not just a scholarship agreement. Those contracts have buyouts in them. So if a player tells me he's coming back and signs his contract, and then tomorrow says, you know what, coach, I'm going to the portal. I mean, he has the right to do that, but he also has to pay me to do that. And so that generally is going to stop that from happening. And so usually by this point, we know who all is coming back and who's not, and it's unlikely that there'll be a surprise. We have 1 player that we're still, he's going to go in the portal, but he's still, strongly considering coming back. So we're working through that right now, and what that, he's got strong reasons to go in. They're green. He's got strong reasons to come back. They're in his heart and his brain. And so, we're working through which is more important for this next season.
Have you had to evolve your thinking on that? Because that's the way you have to do it now. I mean, before I heard a lot of coaches, as soon as he goes in the portal, we want nothing. We don't want anything to do with him anymore. But that's not really normal anymore. It's the way you're talking. If the guy generally says, look, I love it here, why I have to do this, you're going to support that. Knowing you're going to do whatever you think's best for the kid. So
yeah, exactly. Every situation is unique. I don't think that I can have a hard and fast rule. Like you said, a couple of years ago, I might have had a hard and fast rule.
Yeah,
that, hey, if you say you're going in the portal, you know what, you're out. You don't appreciate what we do here. And where we sit in the landscape, like it's not. It's one of the things that revenue sharing and NIL does is it clearly you're pretty clear on where you are and who you are. And there are if the most important part of your 4-year college experience is to make as much money as you can, then you're not going to want to be at Mount St. Mary's for long. I mean, it is what it is. Like,
well,
we have some money and we can take care of our guys, and it's gone up from year 1 to year 2 and year 2 to year 3. So I'm certainly fortunate for the position I'm in, but there's always a bigger fish, right? There's always somebody, whether you're at, Mount St. Mary's or you're at Radford or you're at Duke or Carolina, there's always somebody. That's the NBA's got more money, right? There's always somebody who can pay them more if that's what they want. But we've tried to recruit guys that's not their number one motivation. And so when you go in and yeah, they want to get paid. Obviously, if they've earned these opportunities, they want to explore them. But that's not their number one motivation. And so when now they're given the choice between significantly more money or a experience and a role that they're really excited about, it's a real conversation, and they kind of want to see what that looks like. So some guys, there will always be they say, hey, I'm going into the portal. I say, all right, that's it, because they probably weren't all in to begin with. And then there's other guys like this situation where, we're going to wait it out for, a few days or a week and kind of see how it goes.
Yeah. Wayne asked, would you want a player who says he wants to leave after signing that contract you mentioned? I guess that's what you're talking about. Guys, that shouldn't be here, right?
Yeah, exactly. I would think that, we'd be able to work through it. That once the emotion of the, they're not leaving because they don't enjoy what we have. If a player signs a contract, by the time we hand them the contract, we've had enough conversation to know and have a relationship strong enough to know that we got something pretty good going on between us. And someone may have gotten into their ear and, flashed a bunch of money at them, and they now all of a sudden they want to leave. And those are ones that I think once we can get through the emotion of that, we'd be fine going forward. I would like to believe that we're a player who's been on our program for at least a year. We're not going to offer them a contract and have if we know that they're not someone that someone's going to blink at the first dollar thrown at them that seems flashy or whatever. So I think I'd be okay with it. I haven't had to deal with that yet, so we'll see. Hopefully we're not dealing with that here in the next 24, 48 hours. But it'll certainly be a hectic next couple of weeks for sure.
Do you think any of the information that came out of Washington is going to have any traction? Did anybody pay any attention to that? What do you think? Is it a step in the right direction, or can any of that be implemented?
So it's a step in the right direction, and people noticed. Without changes to the NCAA's status in regards to antitrust, the NCAA needs a congressional antitrust exemption. Yeah. And if the NCAA, the SCORE Act, I think is the bill that's in Congress right now. I don't know it well enough to give you my thoughts on it, other than in order for the NCAA to have real and enforceable rules and get us back to sanity for me, for you, for the fan, for the student athlete, we need some sort of congressional antitrust exemption. It doesn't need to be full. It can be limited. But any of the rules that anyone suggests, whether they're the president of the United States, whether they're a talking head on YouTube, whether they're a coach or anybody else, for them to be passed by the NCAA and be enforceable and hold up in court, there needs to be antitrust exemption. And, right now we don't have that. So, yes, I think what the president put out there makes a lot of sense. I think it got people's attention. It opened some eyes that, hey, I think what it did is open eyes on the Hill and in Congress that, hey, we have to work together here because the president said so, because this is what the people want. And, very frankly, the government doesn't do great working together across the aisle. And, I believe it's 7. I think they need 7 people across the aisle to pass the SCORE Act. And I sat in the meeting with all the head coaches in Division I this last weekend in Indianapolis. And that was, we talked for an hour and a half, and that sentence right there is the most important thing that we took out of it, because anything else we want to get done, anything else the NCAA wants to get done, anything else the coaches want to get done, doesn't matter until we can enforce the rules that we have. Because otherwise, anything we try to do to fix it, if somebody thinks it's infringing on their right to make money, they can just go to court. And it's shown that they can at least get a temporary injunction for long enough to play or get through whatever that rule is that's holding them back.
So in other words, no antitrust exemption, nothing's going to change, basically.
Pretty much.
Okay. There you go. See, there you go. I had a question. I wasn't sure, and you've answered it just like that. That's why you're the best. You're the best. All right. So we've got us a title game tonight. Michigan has looked what they did to Arizona. I was just like, really? maybe you weren't surprised. Maybe not by beating them, but did you expect them just to completely undress the Wildcats the way they did? Woo.
I did not. I was surprised. That was an impressive performance. I came into the tournament with the assumption that Michigan's injuries were eventually going to catch up to them. Because one of the things that I've seen and coaches across the country have seen all year is that, depth has been so hard to come up with. One of the things that the transfer portal and revenue sharing and NIL has done is it's made it where, some teams might have more, the best teams have better players, and there's more of a gap, between the levels, but it has made it harder for you to have 8 or 9, top players. I think about a place like, some of these blue blood programs that have struggled in this era, like somebody like Kansas, who is used to their 6th or 7th or 8th player being just as good as their starters. And with the what the money's done and the transfer portal's done is it's really taken that away. And some teams may have a great starting 5, but there seems to be a drop off nationwide, when guys get to their bench and have to go deep into their bench, especially. And, I thought that was eventually going to get to Michigan, but it seems like it hasn't. And, their ability to just roll through the tournament and, other than a couple first halves, not really be challenged all that much has been super impressive to me, especially on Saturday night.
Well, what can Dan Hurley and those Huskies who are tough and physical and have a great mindset about it, how can they go in and try to prevent the same thing to happen tonight?
Yeah, I think that they are physical enough, to give them some challenge at the rim, to battle on the backboards. They're not nearly as tall. They don't have a 7'2" center, but they do have some grit and some physicality across the board that I think can really help them. They can really shoot the ball, and it might be one of those games where they need to find a way to bomb in, 10, 11, 12 threes to help. But, I mean, they're certainly an underdog. I think they opened as, over a touchdown underdog in the national championship game, which is not a fun feeling.
No, it's a lot.
Going into a game like that. But, they have the experience. They have guys that have been there before and have done it, which a lot can be said for. I thought that was a huge difference in their game on Saturday. They're just they were able to withstand any run. It didn't take them forever to settle into the game. They were able to jump on Illinois early by just, because they had been in that situation before. And I think that'll help them, here early especially. And then, obviously, Landeborg's status is a huge deal for Michigan. If he's not himself, if he can't, be the best player on the floor, which he's been pretty much everywhere he's been, I think that opens a door for UConn to keep it competitive. And if it's close, we saw against Duke, we've seen all year, like if UConn can keep it close, they got they got the right stuff to win close games. And it should be entertaining, I would think. I don't think that we'll see a game like we saw on Saturday night with Michigan and Arizona. Hopefully not for the fans and for everybody else watching. At least we can hopefully have a game that comes down to the last few minutes and get a chance to watch the best players make winning plays at the end of the game.
Do you know Dan Hurley well at all? Have you met him?
I've met him. I wouldn't say we're friends. I don't think Dan Hurley has a lot of friends, but I'm certainly not counted as one of them. No.
I remember, am I wrong? Was Rhode Island at the same regional we were at in Pittsburgh?
That sounds right. I don't know.
It felt like he was coaching there, right? Was it who?
Yeah.
Who was he coaching before he got?
Rhode Island.
It was Rhode Island, and he was that was them, and he was the head coach, and I remember watching the antics had been there.
Oh,
I remember we were setting up. I think it was me and Neil were like, their coach is crazy. He's nuts, isn't he? Look at it, and it's continued on now to this level. I mean. The other day when they were walking into the press conference, he's just in the hallway and he's having a conversation with himself, and the two officers are like, Are we safe here? It was just, but hey, whatever it's doing, it's working, right? He gets a chance to win a third natty tonight. So
hey, you gotta be yourself. You know, at the end of the day, like he's not trying to be. So I respect people who don't try to be something that they're not. You know,
True.
and he's not trying to be John Wooden, and he's not trying to be Coach K. You know, he's very comfortable in his own skin, and you know, it's not how I do it. It's not how pretty much anybody else in the world does it, but it works for him, and it's authentic, and his players respect it, and you know, certainly, it's hard for me to knock on the success and you know the way he's coached those teams to now 3 of the last 4 national championship games.
I got this is funny. You may not know, but I'm going to ask. I got 3 texters. Can you ask Coach? These are Carolina fans. Any insight on who might take our job now that Tommy Lloyd, Dusty May, Tarsis know?
Oh man, I'm still available. My people are going to talk to their people.
Okay, good.
And see what we can get done. I mean, all the tea leaves are pointing toward Billy Donovan right now.
Yeah.
That was I mean, that seems to be the consensus of where they want to go. I don't know why on either side that makes a ton of sense, but I'm not the AD at Carolina, and I'm not Billy Donovan's agent. But hey, more power to him. Billy's a great coach, and they'll do really well, I would think. I think he will be fine in this climate. You know, obviously he's not coached in this climate of college basketball ever. But I think it sounds like Billy's the front runner, and he would be great to be the head coach of Carolina. I think Mark Byington is still out there. I know he signed an extension, but apparently his buyout didn't change from what I understand in his contract extension. Obviously, Mark, we all know Mark down in Southwest Virginia.
Yeah.
He is phenomenal. He has proven to be really good everywhere he's been. I was unsure how jumping to the high major level, how he'd do, and he's been, I mean, he's the best band he's ever done. It seems like, at least in my memory. And so I think he would do great. It would be different. You know, it would certainly be a departure from the way that Carolina's done things. You know, he's a little bit more outside the box in thinking and roster construction and that sort of thing, which maybe is what they need, you know, at this point in time. But, you know, I would, you know, Vegas is strong odds on Billy Donovan. They know more than we do usually. He's kind of been the guy all along for that in Vegas. So it would be hard for me to think it'd be somebody else. But we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Do you feel like when they let go of Hubert Davis, they felt like they were going to be able to get someone like a Tommy Lloyd, and then that fell through? You think they're in scramble mode? That's the other part of the questioning I'm getting now.
Yeah, it felt like a knee-jerk reaction, you know, to a bad game. Obviously, if Carolina didn't have the injuries that they have, it would have, you know, been unlikely that they would have lost in the first round.
Yeah,
the tournament. But they did, and there was a reaction. And, you know, I've always thought that if you're going to make a firing decision at a place like North Carolina, you already know who you're going to hire, right? Like, you know, it's Carolina. You've already had these preliminary discussions. You should know who you're going to hire already. It doesn't seem like that was the case, unless they've just been waiting, you know, for Billy Donovan all along since this happened, and all the other stuff has been smoke screens by agents and coaches to get contract extensions, which, you know, we're pretty good at generally.
Morris asks, do you ever have a problem with getting St. Mary's in the MAAC confused with St. Mary's in California? He said, I did it first, but after doing research, I like your St. Mary's a lot more.
Well, I appreciate that. Our weather's not quite as nice. Occasionally, someone will be confused. There's also a Mount St. Mary's Division III school in the Hudson Valley in New York. And so our league, the MAC, is all up there, right, in the New York metro area. So we get confused for them far more than we get confused for St. Mary's in California, just because we're up in that area a lot. And so when people hear Mount St. Mary's, they assume it's the local school. And so, like, we'll go to the hotel, and you know how sometimes the ballrooms, they think they're doing a thing by like putting your logo on the room, and it'll be the, you know, the Blue Knights of Mount St. Mary's College in Newburgh, New York. But it's all good. Yeah, we're happy with who we are. Once people get to campus, they find out who we are. We're unforgettable.
Exactly. My goodness, you've been to the NCAA tournament already. Of course you're unforgettable. Hey, weird fact about Rick Watson. I've called 2 games from Moraga, California. We played out there in the St. Mary's tournament many
there we
years
go.
ago. Yeah.
Before my time. We
did. It didn't go so well against the host school in the second game.
No, I can't imagine it did. You new coach out there, though, things may be changing to the guard.
That's right. Exactly. Well, good stuff, man. So you should know. You think you have is finalized ever the right word? But you pretty much feel by the end of the week you might have the roster you're going to have going forward.
I mean, I'll know who is on our team, staying. I certainly won't know who else is coming in yet.
Okay.
It'll take a while.
I guess.
The goal. I've put a soft goal of Memorial Day weekend. If we can have a roster by Memorial Day weekend, that would be awesome. But I also don't want to take the wrong guys. So, we'll play it by ear here and see who we can get, and fight like heck. I know we'll end up with a good team. I got a great staff. They've been working their butt off already. We'll be better than we were this year. I'm convinced of that. And then, how it is. Then we get right to work in the summer and start figuring out if we can put the pieces together to put the right product on the floor.
Well, and as you said, they're finalizing those guys are going to come back. That's a great base, man, to go out and get your new players, right? That's cool. Not every team has that luxury. So you're right. If you can get that done, man, you'll be good. You'll be good. Who's winning the Masters next week?
You're
a golf guy.
I'm a huge golf guy. If anybody listening has an extra badge that they want to throw my way, I wouldn't be mad at you. I'll walk you around. I'll talk with you the entire time we're there. Give you anything you want to know. I think Bryson's going to win the Masters, and that's just I don't know why. I don't like Bryson. I don't like YouTube golf. I don't like Liv, but I think he's going to win the Masters, and that's I just have that feeling that it's his time. He's ready. That's my thought right now. It's hard to Scotty doesn't seem in his usual form to start the year so far this year, and so that's where I'm not a betting man, obviously. But if I were, that would be where I'd lean this weekend.
Okay, all right. Are you? Do you try to make it so you make sure you're around a TV as much as possible during those 4 days?
Yeah.
I
also my TV, my iPad, my phone, my computer, some device where I can watch the action 1,000%. I'll be eating my pimento cheese sandwich and enjoying myself to watch the Masters this weekend. I'm sure we'll have a visit lined up, so we'll work around that to be able to figure it all out. But that will be the plan this weekend. We will get plenty of golf in from Augusta.
There you go. So pass coach a badge if you have an extra one. He can expand the St. Mary's recruiting area to Augusta for a few days. You wouldn't mind that at all?
Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest.
Family good? How's everybody doing? Everybody wants to ask about Silas every time.
Yeah, the family's good. We're playing baseball right now and running track, and so I'm dad most of the time, shuffling them off from one place to another, which is great. I'm loving it. And then Sierra's doing well. It's always a fast transition, and we don't get as much downtime together as we'd like before this recruiting starts up heavy. So trying to adjust as best we can.
How tall is the boy now?
He's 4'9", he likes to tell me. I don't know if that's actually true or not. He's not tall. I think his mother's height is holding him back here and pushing him more toward baseball and golf and things like that, where us less athletic, vertically inclined people end up. So I'm not opposed to that. He loves it, so that's fun.
What are you? You're like, what, 6'4"? How tall are you?
I am.
Tall.
Yes, I'm 6'4". So My wife's 5'2".
Maybe he'll rally. Maybe there'll be a rally.
Maybe we got a late push. A Sunday afternoon charge on the back nine.
Exactly. All right. Well, listen, man, good stuff. Thanks for the insight. That's good for people. I'm getting a lot of people. That's great. Thanks, Coach, for clarifying that. So we're looking. What we're looking for is the exemption, or nothing's going to happen. We're just not going to have it. Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right, we need it. If anybody knows a Democratic senator they can get to, help him out, help him pass the score act.
Yeah, exactly.
As much as I don't love lobbying, it affects my livelihood on a daily basis. So we should
need
do
it. We need it. You're right. All of us need it. You're right. All right, man. Enjoy the week, and congrats on your roster, and can't wait to see where it all ends up, and enjoy the Masters.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, Rick.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for jumping on, man. There you go. Donny Lind. Good stuff, man. Thanks for the questions for Coach. That's great. That's it. We just talked about it. Wasn't sure how it was going to settle, but basically without the antitrust exemption, we've got no sports. We've got no hope for sports. Yeah, if you have a kid, wouldn't you want him to play for – yeah. I've known him a long time, and it's the most genuine guy in this business that cares what you just said. He cares about the kid, and he wants to win. But watching him coach and the excitement and the love that he has for what he does. And you know what? He doesn't ever forget that he's a husband and a father first. And that's rare. I'm not surprised at all to see him have success. One of my all-time favorite people that I've ever met in this business, Donny Lind. And a wealth of knowledge. I mean, that's awesome. So now we know where we stand. He did. He put his name in the hat for UNC. Maybe a little sarcastically, but yeah, he goes, well, I'm available. Kind of feels like it's going to be Billy Donovan or Mark Byington. And I don't know how many Carolina fans are going to be happy about Mark Byington. All right, Todd Grantham is going to join us. I'll be back. Creed is, I think he's killed something. Hang on. And the answer is yes. He hasn't quite killed it, but he's having a good time with it. It's a little bird. Don't think any less of him. That's nature. And by the way, he doesn't just kill and leave that'll be his brunch. Yeah, exactly. Back to back. Yeah. Todd Grantham in the same mold. We're going to talk to Todd here in just a second. I'm going to give him his invite. He has to come on a little early because they've got meetings, and didn't get a chance to catch up with him last week. We had Marty and Rags on last Monday, and then we tried to see if he could find some time. They've been busy, man, but it's moving down there in Birmingham, Alabama. It's moving. Please subscribe, like, and share our channel wherever you might be. Help us out. And we'll get Todd on, talk about all these things, practice, and see what he thinks about all that as well from the president. But it's interesting. We'll find out exactly if they need 7 votes. Oof, 7 votes feels like a million votes. With everybody is so partisan and nobody wants to do anything that's right, which is why I hate politics. Doesn't matter. UCLA women won the national championship, a chance for the Big Ten to win both. It sounds weird. But UCLA completely beat the crap out of South Carolina in every way possible. They stole their will to want to try to win that game. And that's the second championship game in a row that they've gotten absolutely pummeled. So, and there was Dawn Staley wearing nothing to represent her school in the national championship game. It's great. All right, good stuff from Donny Lind. Joining us now on the program. He's the defensive coordinator of the UAB Blazers. Hope you had a great Easter weekend. What's up, Coach? Good morning.
What's up, Rick? Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. And man, we're down. What are we now? Week 3 now. We're getting in the nitty gritty.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, we basically got 2 weeks left. We got a practice Tuesday, Thursday this week, and we got our second scrimmage, and then we'll finish it up the following week with a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday situational type or practice, and then Saturday will be like the third scrimmage, spring game, whatever you want to call it, and then we're done. So it's closing on us fast. We got a lot of work to do. So anyway, we'll get at it this morning as soon as I get off here.
Well, how did the scrimmage go? You said it's coming up on the second scrimmage. Yeah. What kind of things? Take us into what you look for in a scrimmage like that. That's kind of cool.
First of all, being with Coach Mortensen's been awesome from a structure standpoint, meaning, some people just go out and call plays and, but the way we had things organized from a standpoint of, we had what we call 2 racks of what we call move the field, meaning, hey, you just play ball. You know what I'm saying? Like it's 1st and 10, 2nd and 6, 3rd down, and you're going to go for roughly 12 plays. So if you get a 3 and out, back it up, start over again. If you get 8 plays, back it up, try to get 4, and we'll just do a move the field type deal from that standpoint. And that's usually like second defense against first offense, first defense against second offense from that perspective. And, what I try to do in that situation is really go ahead and chart out what I want to call. One, is there something new that I want to see how we play it? The other thing could be, I want to see a certain guy in a certain technique, or I want to see a certain guy do a certain thing. And then we got into, because of our numbers a little bit, we ended up doing a situational where we did 2 third downs, and the third down total is always 3rd and 15. So what that means is if it's 3rd and 6, it's 3rd and 9, and then we go to a 3rd and 1. Okay, so there's 2 third downs and a short yardage. And the reason we do it that way is sometimes when, your receivers, because on 3rd down, you're going to use a lot of receivers, right? Well, if you go to a 3rd and 1, you're going to get in bigger people, so it gives them a chance to get a blow, and then you don't have to stop practice. So then like we would go, say, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 1, okay? And then the 2s would go, and then we'd come back, and then we would go, say, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 4, okay? And then 3rd and 2. And then we would rotate that for 4 sets, good on good. And the good thing about that is, for example, let's say I want to see a nickel cover man-to-man. Well, I know in this situation, I'm going to call this kind of call, and I can watch him cover, okay? Let's say I want to see a corner play a certain technique on 3rd and 11. Well, I know that situation's coming up, so I can call this play or this defense to see that and him execute that play. So by scripting it like that, you balance it out to where you get an even number of what we call medium yardage, like 3rd and 3 to 6 type third downs, and then you get an even number of 3rd and 7 plus, 3rd and 7 to 11 usually, type third downs where you can evaluate guys, or you can evaluate maybe a scheme or a defense that you got. And then from there, we went to what we call our red area, and basically we put the ball like on the 12-yard line and play it. Okay, and then we'll play it out, and everybody gets 1 rack. So if you get 3 and out, usually go for it on 4th down, so that way you can extend the drive, those kind of things. So we'll do a low red area, and then we'll flip it since we're down there, and then we do a backed up situation. For example, the ball's in the 1-yard line. So, in that situation, the things that we talk about defensively is, what are you going to see? Well, first of all, you're going to see a hard count, because, if the ball's in the 1 and they get a false start, they back it up a half a yard. If we jump off sides, well, that's 5 yards for them. So now it goes to 1st and 5. So, that situation happened in the game. And then what kind of runs are you getting? Usually it's, it could be, their bread and butter type runs. But then as far as passes goes, it's usually, balls in the flat or shots. Okay. So you kind of get, that situation. And the way that situation goes is our objective is to get a 3 and out. Well, the offense's objective is to get 2 first downs. So basically we'll play that situation out up until 2 first downs. Okay. And we'll go that way with that. and we'll do that. Then we do a goal line situation, okay, which we put the ball on the 1 yard line, and we'll go big people. So, traditional, there's no wideouts in the game, big. And then on the third play, we go to 11 personnel, which means there's 3 wides in the game. And the reason we do that is now you got to practice subbing on the goal line, because that's one of the biggest things that people screw up is, balls on the 1, hey, what's the personnel? And you say you go goal line, and then they're in goal line for a play, and then they go back to traditional 11 personnel. Well, you got to go back to nickel, or you could go to what we call cyclone, which is another goal line structure, but you're subbing. That's the biggest thing, you're subbing. So you got to practice your subs within the situation. So then we'll end up doing that. And then the last thing that we do is a 2-minute drive, and we'll spread those out, meaning like, do they need a touchdown? They need a field goal? Where's the ball? How much time? And we've done those. We've done 2 of those already, because those kind of, impact whether you win or lose the game. So, that's really what goes into it. And the biggest thing that I look for is the evaluation of players, as far as like trying to making sure we'll sub guys within racks. Let's say we got 2 guys that are competing at, say, the number 2 spot, or even the 1 spot, whatever it is. Well, we'll make sure that we'll be on the sideline, because we have assistants where we can chart, hey, this guy has 12 plays right now, this guy's got 9. We'll let this guy start out the next series to balance it up. And then that way, at the end of the day, you try to get each guy equal number of plays in each situation. And then, just evaluate guys, and then we'll talk about them today, and we'll watch tape and get better.
Coach Elmo was on the boat, and he said, hey, make sure Todd still wants me once I get my feet on dry land again. I guess everything's still good there. Right?
Yeah, he texted me yesterday. He was going on a cruise. He was so fired up. Good for him. He certainly worked hard for that cruise. So hope he's having a good time and enjoying that.
I just asked Coach Lind. I wanted to ask you, of course, President Trump put forth what he would like to see, and things obviously aren't just going to happen. And Coach Lind just mentioned that without the the antitrust exemption, nothing's going to happen, right? I mean, that's right. So what did you like everything or most of what you saw come out of Washington?
At least they're talking about it, so it's a move in the right direction. I think eventually we'll find out what kind of backbone it's got, based upon some kind of legal system, as far as does somebody get an injunction and so on, and are they protected, from that standpoint. I think at the end of the day, it's going to go to 5 years. Like, it's going to be, you have 5 years to play. Okay. That's going to happen. You got 5 years to play, because like, we don't need 17-year-olds and 28-year-olds playing against each other. I don't care what Jay Billis says in that regard, on his commentary on the basketball game. But like, they're, and in reality, the NCAA had rules. Okay. They did have rules. And what happened is courts got involved and gave injunctions and said this wasn't right and everything. So now it's went away, and really they have no power, and there's no one in charge. So someone's got to get back in charge and get some structure to what we're doing. And really it's the benefit of the players, because you're talking about developing youth. And I know a guy's making a lot of money, but at the same time, they're not developed yet, and they're not where they need to be from a responsibility standpoint. So that's part of, college athletics responsibility, is to continue to develop young men and young women, for the future. And I think that it's a step in the right direction. I think there'll obviously be some things that go on with it moving forward to give us some teeth. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see as we go.
Mark watching says, can you ask Coach Grantham, how does the portal now change in the spring after spring practice? And if you need
there
to
is
add
no
a player
portal.
to it?
I mean, I don't think any coach wants to be suspended. So right now they just put a rule in play that, so if you entered the portal legally, say back in January when it opened up, and you're still in the portal, you can transfer.
Right.
Okay. So in other words, if you're available, you can go somewhere. Okay. So those guys are fine. But if you didn't enter the portal then, or let's say you went to somewhere else, the NCAA just, did a rule that an institution can't take that person. So therefore, if you took that, there is a suspension for the coach. I want to say it's like 6 games or something like that. But there's a pretty significant suspension for the coach. And there is a fine relative to your budget. So that ends up affecting. In other words, you don't want to make it a blanket, you know, fine. For example, that fine for UAB would be a lot more hurtful than, say, for Ole Miss.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
So the fine is relative to your budget. Okay. So that puts some teeth in it. So there is no portal right now. I mean, your team is your team. That's why these next 2 weeks are really important, because, you know, we can maybe move a guy or two around, see how they do, and try to create some depth at some positions, you know, within our team, because it's always about getting your best 11 players on the field. So, you know, that's what we'll discuss this morning from a evaluation standpoint with our roster. Just maybe who do we want to tweak or move around, just to see them in another spot, just to give us some depth, because, you know, things happen during the season and you got to still play. So, you know, really the guys you have now are the guys you got. Okay. Now that doesn't mean you can't go get someone that's out there that didn't go anywhere. Maybe a JUCO guy that, you know, graduated but didn't go anywhere. So those are the only guys that are really available for you to take right now.
So if you did have, God forbid, some injury that was going to be pretty substantial, you could go in and say, okay, well, let's go talk to some guys who were sitting in there.
What you'd have to do is, if that ever happened, knock on wood, it doesn't, but if that ever did happen, you'd have to say who's in the portal that didn't go anywhere. You know, I'm not knocking the players that would be there, but that caliber of player is probably not the caliber of player like we got the second day I got here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's definitely going to be a difference from that perspective. So, you know, that we'll see how that works. I think it's best for college football that it is that way. So now you know your team. And look, I really like our team. I like our guys. I like our work ethic. I like our energy. I like our grit. We got a long ways to go. We got to continue to work. But I like where we're moving. And we just got to continue to educate ourselves on situations that come up within a game, and continue to learn how to, you know, play with each other from a leverage standpoint, from a communication standpoint, and all that just takes time. Like I told you before, it's really about trying to figure out getting 2 years worth of work into a couple months.
Yeah,
that's really what you're trying to do.
How has the development of all these new coaches, all you guys together? You see, you got a meeting coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. But how's that progressed as well?
Yeah, so that was a pretty time-consuming thing as well. So Ryan McNamara has been with me ever since the University of Florida. So he's really invaluable from the standpoint of he knows everything in the back end. He started out as like my quality control person as far as handled, you know, installations, playbook, drew things up, you know, was a master at that. And then he's gradually worked his way up to where he's the safeties coach now for us and does an unreal job. But like, you know, that you need those kind of guys, because there's always the little things, you know what I'm saying, about absolutely. how you read the back, or how you read number two, or what does this tag mean in a call. So, you know, he's really been the guy that had been with me. Obviously, Corbin, my son, was with me last year, and he's done a really good job as far as understanding the back end stuff, again, with the DBs. So those two guys have really helped me because they've been with me before, okay? Everyone else was kind of new. So it was really day one building, as far as like there was, you know, a lot of long meetings, like, you know, somebody might put their hand up and can we take a bathroom break? You know what I'm saying? Because like we're in there for 4 hours straight. Right. And you don't realize that. I mean, you'll start at say 1 o'clock and like you're in there grinding and you're watching tape and you're going over this defensive call and these adjustments, and you go the next one, and before you know it, it's 6 o'clock. And it's like, right. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we've gotten through that, and the guys have done a really good job of understanding, you know, what words mean, what concepts mean, what numbers mean, you know, those kind of things. Because everything to me is, I'm a big words guy, category, like put things in categories for players. So the guys have done a really good job of understanding that and working through that, and done a good job so far. So we'll continue to do that over the next 2 weeks, and develop it over the summer.
How much trust and is Coach Mortensen, does he just turn everything over to you and the offensive coordinator, or is how much interaction there is with him as he gets involved with?
Coach Mortensen does an excellent job. I mean, he was with Coach Saban for 9 years. So pretty much the structure of what we do is very similar. I mean, there's some things that are different from a number standpoint. We don't have the numbers that say you had at Bama. So you may have to reduce the amount of drills you have, say in a 5-minute period or an 8-minute period from that perspective. But, the best thing that I've always had this even with Dan and Mike Bobo is setting down and like, okay, what are you trying to get accomplished defensively? What are you trying to get accomplished offensively? And how can we work together to get that done? Because you got to work together, right? And I think he's done an unbelievable job as far as like making sure that, we're both getting what we need. For example, like he might say, hey, I need to see a middle of field closed defense this play. Okay, no problem. And, what do you need to see? And so, you got to work together because it's really about developing your team for the season. And I just think that that's important to let you grow as a team and then as a unit.
Sure.
And that part of it's been really good. So basically, we work together, and obviously being the head coach, he's got final say. But we've done a really good job of trying to figure out, the best way for this team to get the things they need to get done accomplished, which will be different than say what Alabama did with Coach Saban. Could be numbers, it could even be like, hey, we got 29 guys in the first year in the portal, so we need to do this. Whereas we don't have guys that have been there for 3 years. You know what I mean? So
you
have to go that route with it. So I think the biggest thing is communicating and working together for what you need to get accomplished over the next or through the 15 practices, and that's what we've done.
I probably won't ask this question the right way, but does that kind of make it somewhat better? Everybody's new. You got so many new players, so everybody's kind of absorbing the newness.
I think that like I've taken over a lot of programs. Like for example, when I went to Georgia, they were coming off. It was 6-6, or they went to the Pool-N Weed Eater Bowl. Which, if you're a Georgia doing that, that's not very good, right?
No.
And you had the players that were there, right? So you didn't get the new guys. So with the players that were there, okay, what's the issue? Okay, well, quite honestly, we had to work through entitlement. We had to develop toughness, and we had to develop grit. So you had to change a behavior and then add a behavior, okay? So that took time. I mean, our first year, I think we went to the bowl in Nashville. We won 7 games, I think. But then the next 2 years, we won 10 plus games and went to an SEC championship game and won the SEC East twice. So it happens, and it can happen. Okay. When I went to Louisville, the players were there, and they actually had talented players. Coach Strong had done a good job, but they were transitioning from the AAC to the ACC. And if you looked at the history, they always kind of played to the level of their competition when they were there because they were pretty talented. So we had to develop that mindset of every week matters. You know what I'm saying? And we did that. And then, we got all the way to fourth or fifth in the country. And then when I went to Mississippi State, Dan, they were coming off a 5-7 bowl as well, and they were 110th in defense. And they really had a product of, they were really young the year before. They had a couple guys hurt. They needed a couple guys. And truthfully, they needed confidence defensively, meaning like Dan's culture was really good, much better than when I went to Georgia. The culture was really good. It just was about developing young guys and getting them a little bit older and tougher. We added 2 players. We added John Abrams and Montez Sweat. Both guys ended up being first-round picks, so that doesn't hurt either.
No.
And, I really felt like those kids, worked their tail off. Mississippi kids, that's the one thing I always say about kids from Mississippi. They bust their ass, and they work their tail off. And like nutrition for them, like if you had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, they were happy. I mean, they didn't complain. They just wanted to work, right? And the biggest thing I thought there is I had to instill like confidence. Like you're good players. Like Jeffrey Simmons, you're like the top defensive lineman in the country.
Right.
So you had to get them to play that way, and you had to develop that swag. You had to develop that attitude, and we kind of did that. And then obviously we ended up winning, 9 games, and Dan got the Florida job. And truthfully, we went to Florida. It was very similar to the Georgia situation. There was a little bit of entitlement, and how do you change this? And they were 4-7, okay, or 4-8, and we had to change that. And then, truthfully, we ended up changing that one quicker than the Georgia deal. Really, I think because of my experiences at Georgia, and Dan did a really good job with the offense, and we ended up winning 9 games that year. We won 10 or 10 plus the next 2 years, and actually went to the SEC championship game and turned it. And so all of those were different from the standpoint of you had the players that were there, so you had to change a mindset, you had to instill a mindset, and you had to add a mindset. So coming here, the difference between this year and last year is everybody's new. Other than about 4 guys, they're all new.
Yeah.
Okay, so, you've had to you got to be on the same page, meaning because everybody's new, you got to be exact in what you're saying and what you're teaching. You got to make sure understand this is the way we're going to do things, and this is why. And I think that the last comment I made is critical from the standpoint of this is why, because I think players will play like when you and I played, Rick. If Coach Hicks said do this, well, you did it. Why? Because that's Coach Hicks. It's what you did. Right. Okay. Well, nowadays there's a little bit more of a relationship involved, meaning you have to get a relationship with guys. And I think that's more of a product of our society than coaching. You know what I'm saying? I think that's just the way kids are brought up. And I think it has to do with parenting. It has to do with a lot of things, but there has to be a connect there from a relationship standpoint between you and the player. So you got to develop that. And then as you develop that, then you instill the things you want from a cultural standpoint as far as accountability, discipline, accountability, and toughness. And you're explaining why you want to do things. And then you got to show them. And that was our first scrimmage. And there's a lot of really good plays in there. And there's some things that we got to do better. And here's why. And I think that'll be the purpose of today is look, this is our standard. These are the things that we did that are really, really good. Okay, this is our first scrimmage. These are the things that we've got to improve upon. And these are the situations that we've got to handle better. And here's why. And I also think that by doing those over and over, it also lets them understand my thinking and what we're going to call or how we're going to play things. So their anticipation can be a little bit better too. So, I think that honestly, bringing everybody in new, in some ways, as long as the talent's there, can be a little bit easier than say when you have to go in and change an attitude, because there's a reason that Georgia went to the Pool and Weeder Bowl. You know what I'm saying, back then, and you got to change that attitude. So anyway, that's where we are right now. We got basically 2 weeks left, and we're still working to find our identity and improve.
Well, you just answered. I was going to ask you what's traditionally been harder, getting rid of the bad old way and not doing and bringing in the way that needs to turn it around. It sounds like getting rid of the
hardest thing. So I think the hardest thing, and this is me, is that when you take over, it's kind of refreshing, or hey, everybody's new. Well, that's not a problem. Everybody's new. Everybody's excited. Why are they here? We have a lot of guys, I think, that have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They want to play from that perspective. So bringing those guys in, I think the hard thing is for coaches is, okay, once you develop that, say year 1, well, the way the rules are set up now, you're going to do the same thing that year 2. It's not like you can sustain it to where, hey, I've got guys in my program for 2 to 3 years. They understand the culture. They understand how to teach the new guys or the young guys, because, there's such a mass turnover in college football every year that basically it's year 1 again, and I think that's the thing. It's hard because it is pretty, it is a grind. You know what I'm saying? It is work from a standpoint of, now I do think the fact that our staff can be in continuity next year, that will help because you don't have
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
from a teaching perspective, because it's all about teaching and how you instill things. So I think that will be a little bit easier, but truthfully, next year will be like year one again. And I think that's the issue that coaches have right now with the overall structure of the system is how do you build a team, and develop your identity and your culture that you want, without, having to do it every year. So.
Well, that's good stuff, man. Look, I know you got to get to the meeting, but this is great. Thanks for the insight. You say the scrimmage is tomorrow?
No, we'll practice Tuesday, Thursday. We actually got our clinic on Thursday, and then we'll go again on Saturday.
Okay.
Big bunch of recruits here. We'll do that on Saturday, and then the next week will be the same schedule. We'll finish up the following Saturday, and then it's on the a little bit of recruiting in May, and then getting our organization done for opponents that we're going to play, and then we'll come back in June and basically do the same thing we did in May. We can't have pads on, obviously, and all that, but from a football school standpoint, we'll do that. And then vacation comes July for a few weeks, and then August 2nd, we'll be rolling.
Rocking and rolling. It's exciting. Yep. Good stuff. All right, brother. Listen, have a great week, and thanks for the insight as always.
Take care, bud. See you.
All right, man. Big good. There you go. Good stuff. There you go. Todd Grantham, defensive coordinator at UAB. Got a big meeting. They're ready to meet here in about 5 minutes. Man, I love that. I know you have told me how much y'all love that too. That's cool. So transfer it over to James Franklin. It's the same thing. And I'm wondering, let me ask your opinion. What do you think? I mean, obviously they needed to change everything at UAB, right? Or like Todd was talking about, getting rid of the old. What do you think James Franklin needed to change the most when he got the Black Spur? Because you had Brent Pry in place, his disciple, and obviously he hired him back to be one of his coordinators. You think more of it is what we've seen with the direction toward commitment to the program? I don't know. That's a good question. Makes you think. I mean, give me your thoughts. If you're a Tech fan, what do you believe? I mean, the money came in, they had all that, so that changed the culture a little bit. The mindset toward it. You think now him coming in and it's just like, look, it needs to be important again, or what? That's pretty cool. That's interesting. I mean, I don't know the answer. It's whatever you think. And I think next time he does an interview, that'd be kind of cool if somebody would ask him that question. What was the biggest thing you needed to change when you got here? What did you see had been lacking for 8 years, even when your guy was the head coach? Sundown Electric, our newest sponsor. Excellent reputation, satisfied clients, superior craftsmanship, attention to detail, clear communication. They're the best. Thanks to Jeff and his brother, Jeff Smith. Ready, Set, Fund, ReadySetFund.com. That's with Bob Christ. Check them out. Check out their website, and you can make your organization a lot of money through a series of text messages. Professional Door Incorporated with Travis Williams, residential commercial garage doors, sponsor of our text line. National Bank member FDIC, exclusive banking partner of BDST, the NRB Super Bowl, where we're going to do our bash. It's going to be star-studded, apparently. 382-5525. Go get your lanes. If you want to go tonight and watch the national championship game, they're going to have special rates for your group. You can put the games up. Let's say you somehow got a Tuesday off. You can just go and let it all unleash, if you know what I'm saying. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, right over on 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. James Lawson's the best since 1997. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of yours truly. The attorney Ryan Pry. I need to know what's a good question topic. 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. You have to come up with a question tomorrow. Little River Heating and Air, 295 Radford Street in Christiansburg. That's Charles Lee, 540-553-2971. Thanks to all the folks who come up to me and say, hey, I heard you talking about Charles. I reached out. They're great. Yeah, they're the best. You're not going to regret it. Just do it. Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, the presenting sponsor of this program. How much fun was people always laugh at the energy of Jonathan Sweet. Like every time I get the same type of text every time Jonathan's on. Whenever I watch that guy, I feel a little worse about the energy I brought to the day. Yeah. Family Fencing is a sponsor of our studios here in Reiner. Jason Green, give him a call, 540-200-8294. Check out everything they have to offer at familyfencingnrb.com. And Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic. Mark, I know you watch the show. I'm going to get over there, and we're going to do our recording this month. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Thanks to all of our sponsors for making it possible. Let me know your thoughts. Good stuff, as always. First from Donny Lind, and then Todd Grantham. Wouldn't it be kind of cool? Like, you hear all that and what UAB is building for. They'd be a good school to have one of those type of, y'all help me. What's the name of the show on HBO where they follow around the NFL teams? Why am I drawing a blank? You know what I'm talking about. I don't know if they still do it anymore. Hard Knocks. It's Hard Knocks, right? Is that what it's called? Hard Knocks. That'd be kind of cool to do with what Coach Mortenson's doing and Todd down at UAB. That'd be a fun thing to follow, in my opinion. That'd be awesome. Hard Knocks. Let's do a Hard Knocks version of UAB football. I think that'd be fun. Because it's a program that, we're now pulling for, right? Todd's there. We're getting nice insight. We're going to have Coach Mortenson on. They're our non-Power 4 football school now. Go Blazers. They have a great logo. Wayne, Godzilla, your buddy. We can relate, you and I. I hope they have a great year. I think it's going to be fun. Hopefully, that's a tough league they're in, but that's one of the reasons Todd wanted to go there, to a place like that with really good competition. God, hearing him go through it, no coincidence that everywhere he went, even traditional powers, Georgia, Florida, they were a pile of crap. And then he got there with his crew, and then they turned it around. Yeah, not a coincidence. I do not believe that is a coincidence. I got to head to Wise after this. My son has been in, but he wants me to come. So I'm an off day at Radford today. Jumping in the Jeep as soon as I'm done. He's got some bigger stuff he wants me to haul back. I'd rather do it today than move out weekend. Because you know how it is at move out weekends. So if I go today, he won't need my trucks anymore. He can get everything else in his car. So that's what I'm doing today. So, yeah, that's happening today. And I don't mind that because I'd rather take care of it today. So, good stuff. Everybody's expecting Michigan to win. The spread's 7.5. Then again, South Carolina was 4.5, 5-point favorites yesterday. Dawn Staley being heavily criticized for two things. One, seemingly almost giving up in the game early. She just kind of sat on the bench. Like, sometimes you just watch, you go, you know what, we're getting beat today. And then, of course, her apparel. Rick Watson off. How is Radford going to operate without you? Exactly. I wish more people realize that, Brandon. I don't know. It's a good question. I'll be offline, as they say today. Tell Neil I won't be in his meeting this morning. I'll be on the road. Shoot him a text for me, will you, Brandon? Tell him that I won't be in the meeting this morning. I'll be traveling. Wise County, yes, sir. Stop for soup, beans. No. I do like it down there. It's not a bad drive. It's about 2 hours, a little over, but it's a nice drive. Anytime you go south on 81, it's always a good thing. But watch out in Washington County down there. That's where they have a lot of, radar set up. But I like it. I want to say off the top of my head, it's exit 17. It's whatever the Abington exit is, and then you go in there and take some roads, and y'all know, you probably know TLB. Then you get down to coal mining country, and then you climb the top of that mountain where Wise is. It is beautiful. And you can look down from the mountain and see, feels like you can see the whole world, man. It's nice. It's nice. He's had a great year. It's been awesome. From where he was a year ago, I've shared his story to where he is now. Wow. He's so happy yesterday. He's so happy. And so he actually went back last night, but I'm going to go down today. He's getting stuff ready for me. So all I have to do, he's got class. So all I have to do is just go down there and get the stuff and get back. I'll get to see him hopefully for lunch. That's my goal, is to see him for lunch. But I'll be heading down there. Beautiful area. Beautiful area. And the campus is extraordinary. It really is. It really is. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, take care of that for me, Brandon. I don't want you to think I'm standing him up. I don't eat beans, T-Bird. I never had. I know it's not. I never liked the texture. My mom, I think, and Dad loved every type of bean ever. And I used to have to eat them. And when I got a little older, it was a texture thing, man. The texture thing. I just didn't like it. But it's a sunny day today. It's a little chilly though. A little cold. Don't like that. But everybody's nice down there. It's awesome. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind the drive at all. Kind of get out and clear your head a little bit. We had 3 straight days of long baseball. Of course, Brandon, we did get out in under 3 hours on Saturday. Barely, but we made it. So Brandon runs the baseball operation down at Radford. I don't know how he pulls it off. He works at Tech too. But we always talk about the length of the games, and it's like anything under 3 hours we would take. We would just take it in a heartbeat. And we got out. Well, the game in the middle game was 3 hours and 32 minutes. And at that point, no. But then, Saturday, I can't remember. What was it? It was about 250. 245, 250. And whenever you get in under 3 hours, you just go, all right, we'll take it. We'll take it. It was. That's true. So we had a bet going. As a matter of fact, Brandon, I think it was me and you. So we had softball doubleheader that started at the same time of baseball. I looked at Brandon and I said, softball's going to get out before we will. They play 2 games. The odds were 1,000,000-1. But somehow we were out, and they still had 3 innings of game 2 to go. How about that? So we did. We got to actually leave. How about that? And we're doing softball tomorrow. You got to get that game moved up, though. I don't want it to be at 5. It's going to be cold. I don't know why they're playing at 5. Tell you what, here's the best idea ever. We're playing midweek stick and ball. Let's play the games as late as possible so the fewest amount of people can stay for the duration of the game because they have to work the next day. It's the same mindset that goes into let's start the men's national championship game at almost 9 o'clock on a Monday night. That makes a lot of sense, right? Watch out for coal trucks. I will. Beautiful there. And the aesthetic of the coal mining, it's just cool, man. You pass all those coal yards and stuff. I love it. Yeah, I didn't keep up with it. I saw they lost the second game 1-0. Got Tech coming in tomorrow. Brandon, what's the over and under on Tech wearing black unis tomorrow? Pretty high, right? We're going to go with a 93% chance that they're wearing black uniforms tomorrow. You'll see them before I do. Please text me when they get there if you're there tomorrow. You have to be there because baseball is also a big play. So you have to be there. But I want you to tell me when you see them. Then again, that'll be after the show, so we can talk about it again tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll have the Tuesday edition of the program. And Coach Elmo, have fun, man. He just sent me some pics. They're on their boat. Having a great time. We had a great time today. Great start to the Reaction Monday. Enjoy the game tonight. I think Michigan's going to win. I hope that I'm like Prometheus, though. I won't be able to watch it. Too late. I'll be tired. I'll watch the condensed YouTube version tomorrow morning. Let's hope Danny Hurley does something crazy. I think the over and under is probably pretty high on that. But thank you. Hope we made the start of your work week better. I'm heading to Wise. I will see you tomorrow on the Tuesday edition. We'll talk all about the game and talk to Mike Burnup about how scrimmage number 2 went as well over in Blacksburg. See you.